Hi everyone, I'm Devastacia. I'm a board certified lactation consultant.
Now, today I wanted to talk to you about traveling with breast milk and specifically about the new bill that's been introduced to clarify the rights and policies that TSA has to employ when screening parents who are traveling with breast milk or formula or other things for children's nutrition. So let's take a look. Um, the TSA policy as it stands. Now, I have recently traveled with breast milk um, in an airplane, and I was completely and like so anxious, not just because it was my first time flying, but because it was my first time flying with a breast pump and breast milk and ice packs. And you hear these horror stories, and we'll look at one of them that recently happened to a Netflix television host. Um, but I'll show you my traveling here, my bags. So I had two of my cooler bags. They're clipped onto my Nora carry-on bag, um, and surprisingly, I didn't have any issues. I just I was so nervous. I had my shoes and getting my laptop out of my bag and putting everything in the little bins, and it just seems so rushed. It feels like you're at the grocery store and they hand you your change and you're trying to juggle everything in your receipt and put it all back in your wallet, and there's people behind you and waiting, and it feels like that same kind of pressure, like you have to get everything because everyone's impatient and waiting. um, and I just said, I have breast milk and a breast pump. These are my breast milk and breast pump. And they had me put them in a separate bin, and they took them to the side so that once I got all the rest of my stuff through the x-ray machine, then they could examine the breast milk, swipe across the ice packs and stuff with me watching them. So it was really painless. It was probably the easiest part of traveling with breast milk, was actually getting through the TSA with it because they didn't care. Um, Now, pumping on an airplane, I didn't even try. That seems like it would be a much more difficult task, um, especially if you're in one of the little tiny puddle jumpers that feels like you're inside a lipstick tube. But that's neither here nor there. So let's take a look at what the current TSA policy is. Now, this is the first time that I have done like a share screen kind of deal here. So let's take a look. Is it going to... Oh, it's not showing it. That's because I figured out. Now let's take a look at the TSA site and what their policy currently says for traveling with breast milk and formula. So under their traveling with children section, you can see there is a tab for liquid formula, breast milk, toddler drinks, and baby/toddler food to include puree pouches. Formula, breast milk, toddler drinks, and baby/toddler food to include puree pouches in quantities greater than 3.4 ounces or 100 milliliters are allowed in carry-on baggage and do not need to fit within a quart-size bag. Formula, breast milk, toddler drinks, and baby/toddler food to include puree pouches are considered medically necessary liquids. This also applies to breast milk and formula cooling accessories such as ice packs, freezer packs, and gel packs, regardless of the presence of breast milk. Your child or infant does not need to be present or traveling with you to bring breast milk formula and or related supplies. Inform the TSA officer at the beginning of the screening process that you are carrying formula, breast milk, toddler drinks, and baby/toddler food to include puree pouches in excess of 3.4 ounces. Remove these items from your carry-on bag to be screened separately from your other belongings. TSA officers may need to test the liquids for explosives or concealed prohibited items. Although not required to expedite the screening process, it is recommended that formula and breast milk be transported in clear translucent bottles and not plastic bags or pouches. Liquids in plastic bags or pouches may not be screened or may not be able to be screened by bottle liquid scanners, and you may be asked to open them if feasible for alternate screening such as explosive trace detection and vapor analysis for the presence of liquid explosives. Screening will never include placing anything into the medically necessary liquid. TSA X-ray machines do not adversely affect food or medicines. However, if you do not want the formula, breast milk, toddler drinks, and baby/toddler food to include pureed pouches to be X-rayed or opened, please inform the TSA officer. Additional steps will be taken to clear the liquid, and you or the traveling guardian will undergo additional screening procedures to include advanced imaging technology screening and additional/enhanced screening of other carry-on property. Ice packs, freezer packs, frozen gel packs, and other accessories required to cool formula, breast milk, toddler drinks, and baby/toddler food to include pureed pouches, regardless of the presence of breast milk, are also allowed in carry-ons along with liquid-filled teethers. If these items are partially frozen or slushy, they are subject to the same screening as described above. So you can, and then it goes on to say that you can contact TSA Cares online or by phone to discuss what your options are or to discuss the policy further. So let's see. Lee Calandrelli's recent TSA experience where she was going to be traveling by airplane and planned to pump breast milk after she got through security, so she had ice packs with her, but she had no breast milk in them, all in her cooler bag already, and TSA made her throw out her ice packs because they were not fully frozen. And I mean, if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, or if you have any kind of lactation experience, you know that you have to keep the milk moving. You have to pump or nurse regularly around the clock in order to maintain your milk supply and to prevent things like clogged ducts and mastitis. So this was horrible. This was a terrible experience for her, but have any lactation experience at all. But she's using it to create change. And this is amazing. So this bill was introduced 2 days ago, on the 9th, August 9th, during National Breastfeeding Month. And let's take a look at that. Right here. So she is working with Katie Porter of California. So we'll just go through this press release here. Let's make sure you can see that good. Okay. Yay, it's working. Okay. So this press release was released on August 9th, as you can see. Representative Katie Porter introduces bipartisan bill to better protect parents traveling with breast milk. Congresswoman introduces legislation after Orange County mom, Porter constituent, was humiliated at Los Angeles International Airport. Congresswoman Katie Porter, Democrat, California, today introduced bipartisan legislation to make it easier for parents to safely travel with breast milk. The Bottles and Breastfeeding Equipment Screening, BABES Enhancement Act, co-led by Congresswoman Maria Salazar, Republican, Florida, and Congressman Eric Swalwell, Democrat, California, would require the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, to clarify and regularly update guidance on handling breast milk, baby formula, and other related nutrition products in consultation with leading maternal health groups. Senators Tammy Duckworth, Democrat, Illinois, Mazie Hirono, Democrat, Hawaii, and Steve Daines, Montana, will be introducing an identical companion bill in the Senate. Now, don't judge me if I got any of those state abbreviations wrong, because I might have. New parents have enough to worry about, especially while traveling, said Porter, a single mom of 3 school-aged kids. TSA screening checkpoints should not pose a risk to Americans who just want to keep their babies healthy and fed. I'm proud to introduce this bipartisan bill that will make it easier for parents with young kids to travel safely. As a mother of 2 beautiful daughters, I know how stressful it can be to travel with a newborn, said Salazar. It should not be difficult for traveling mothers to breastfeed or carry breast milk through TSA checkpoints. We can and should make motherhood easier through sensible measures like the BABES Enhancement Act. With 3 kids of our own, my wife and I know the stress of traveling with young children, said Swalwell. This bill would certainly provide to parents flying with breast milk, baby formula, and nursing products, plus the added confidence that their child's nutritional products will travel in safe and sanitary manner. Too often, I hear stories of new moms being mistreated and denied access to their breast milk and their breastfeeding equipment that they need to pump and feed their babies, said Duckworth. To make things worse, many of these incidents with TSA employees are flat out inconsistent with the screening policies that TSA already has in place, and it has to stop. That's why I'm proud to introduce this legislation alongside Congresswoman Porter to make sure that TSA does all it can to keep its employees up to speed on their own policies and update these policies accordingly. It's the least we can do to better ensure all new parents are provided with the respect and dignity they deserve while traveling. Absolutely. There is no reason why these TSA agents can't even follow their own policy. They're supposed to be trained in it. They're supposed to know how to handle these situations. It is not like breastfeeding is a brand new thing. Even breast pumps have been around for quite a long time. So there's not a reason why, these policies shouldn't be followed. Too often, TSA screening checkpoints put infants and their mothers at risk, said Hirono. We have heard too many stories about mothers being harassed, humiliated, and even put in danger simply for traveling with milk and supplies they need to keep their babies fed. By requiring TSA to clarify and regularly update its guidance on handling breast milk and baby formula, the Bottles and Breastfeeding Equipment Screening Enhancement Act will help ensure parents and their young children can travel safely and with peace of mind. Oh my goodness. Yes, let's see. We need to be doing everything we can to support mothers in every environment. That includes TSA screening checkpoints, said Daines. Nursing mothers deserve clarity and compassion when it comes to traveling with breast milk and baby formula, and I'm glad to work with my colleagues on this bipartisan bill to support Montana moms. Did I get Montana right? All right, and here is where we get to that incident that I talked about a little bit earlier. Emily Calandrelli, host of popular Netflix show Emily's Wonder Lab and a constituent of Porter's, was recently delayed at Los Angeles International Airport, LAX, while carrying supplies she needed to safely pump milk for her 10-week-old son. Calandrelli was ultimately forced to check her items despite existing TSA guidelines that permitted her to carry them on. Calandrelli shared her story online and was flooded with hundreds of messages from other mothers who had similar experiences while traveling. Working with Congresswoman Porter on this has turned a pretty awful experience into a positive one, said Calandrelli. Every single parent who echoed my experience will now feel seen and supported because of this bill. And Emily, I say to you, you have done an amazing job turning this around and helping so many parents. Hopefully, knock on wood, that this bill is passed, because this is so important. And perhaps then your terrible experience can reduce that from the amount of times that happens in the future, and maybe even eliminate it. Maybe make traveling with breast milk and formula just a normal thing. Because it is. It doesn't need to be a dramatic issue. Porter's legislation would help keep kids and their parents safe and healthy. Mishandled breast milk can become contaminated, which puts children at risk. Moreover, parents who lactate typically need to breastfeed or pump once every few hours. Failure to do so can result in a painful infection called mastitis. The Bottles and Breastfeeding Equipment Screening Enhancement Act is endorsed by March of Dimes, the Association of Maternal and Child Health Programs, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and the Society for Maternal Fetal Medicine. The legislation would better protect families by requiring TSA to issue guidance promoting the hygienic handling of any breast milk, baby formula, or other infant nutrition products, as well as accessories required to preserve these products. Consult with nationally recognized maternal health organizations in establishing and communicating this guidance, and update its guidance every 5 years to respond to emerging needs of parents and to account for developments in technology. Porter's bill would also direct an independent government watchdog to conduct an audit of compliance with TSA screening policies for passengers traveling with breast milk and other infant nutrition products, providing lawmakers with information related to violations of policies like those experienced by Calandrelli. Congresswoman Porter has been a staunch advocate for families throughout her time in Congress. She has introduced a bipartisan bill to make it easier for parents to enroll newborns in health coverage, secured federal support for a maternal mental health hotline to help parents in crisis, and championed legislation to get pregnant workers the accommodations they need in the workplace. Porter is also a leading voice on the urgent need to lower the cost of child and elder care for families. Her Family Savings for Kids and Seniors Act would more than double the amount of money families can set aside pre-tax to pay for preschool, summer day camp, before or after school programs, and child or elder care. Okay, so that last little bit was not, something that pertains to this, except to say that, Congresswoman Porter is, she's looking out for the families, which is, it's important. So, to help ensure that this bill passes, well, Emily posted some ways to get involved, and we'll take a look here. She says, announcement: because of your support after my TSA experience, I was able to work with Representative Katie Porter on a bill to better support parents traveling with breast milk, pumping equipment, and formula. I'm so grateful to all of you for elevating and echoing my experience so that this could happen. It's called the Bottles and Breastfeeding Equipment Screening Enhancement Act, BABES Enhancement Act, and now we need your support to pass it. For your House representative, tell them you'd like to have them support Representative Katie Porter's BABES Enhancement Act. For your 2 Senate reps, tell them you'd like to have them support Senator Duckworth's BABES Enhancement Act. This bill is bipartisan, supported by both Democrats and Republicans, and bicameral. An identical bill will be introduced in the Senate. Thank you all so much. We're creating change. How cool is that? It is so cool, and I am so happy to hear this. This is some good news after the failure of the Pump Act, and I'm going to keep up with that and take a look at the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act also, so we can see what's going on, see if there are other ways that we can still support pregnant and lactating people's rights in the workplace. And we'll also keep up with this BABES Enhancement Act, and I will let you know if there are any developments. Hopefully this video was helpful to you to break down what's going on. I was pretty excited to see it. Thankfully I have not had a bad experience going through TSA with breast milk or with ice packs and a breast pump. But there is always the chance that it's going to happen, and it's always nerve-wracking. So if we can, arm ourselves with the knowledge of the policy when, the TSA agents are supposed to know their policy. But obviously they're not always following it. So arm yourself with that knowledge. I will link the TSA information below, and hopefully this is useful for you. If you've had any kind of experience traveling with breast milk, drop that comment below. I would love to read about your experiences. Hopefully they're not bad. Hopefully you've had just as easy of a time flying with breast milk as I have. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can drop those below too. I'd appreciate a like. If you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye.